honestly think that I would sit back and throw away my life for some fucking punk ass that barely even has fucking hair on her motherfucking pussy?
State of Florida has asked us to disclose our sexual crimes to you. We were bad, but now we're good. We're moving into your neighborhood. You know we're trying our best to be functioning members of society. We're not here to start no trouble. We're legally required to do the sex offender shuffle.
Previously on Chef Bojack's EDP documentary.
Remember me, motherfucker? Three, two, one. Ah, fuck! This is what happens when you sit back and you fucking bullshit and you fuck around and you sit back, my nigga, and you like the.
You act like you never done a video before. What's going on?
I'm just really giggling today, my bad. So I got this letter from someone, right? Dear Eat That Pussy 445, you're an inspiration to all of the world, a symbol of hope throughout the universe. Every day I wake up, make breakfast, work my 9 to 5, find out my wife is cheating on me, make her and her new boyfriend dinner, and I get on my computer and log into YouTube and watch your inspirational videos. Y'all know what that is? Y'all see what that is? What is that? Have you seen the documentary Chef Bojack made on you? Who the fuck is Chef Bojack? Whatever, bitch.
Months of isolation with constant masturbation would cause Bryant to lose everything. After having his life destroyed by his crippling porn addiction, Bryant would seek help from the addiction group known as Masturbators Anonymous. In a statement from EDP on why he would join Masturbators Anonymous, Bryant would be quoted as saying this: Masturbators Anonymous would bring Bryant much needed companionship with other everyday people with his condition. Although each member of his Masturbators Anonymous group would have an impact on his life in one way or another, arguably no one in the group would have a bigger impact on him than fellow Masturbators Anonymous attender and rapper Flavor Flav. And through group therapy, Bryant and Flav would develop a bond over their similar life experiences. This relationship between Bryant and Flav would not last for long, however, and their friendship would be destroyed when, according to Flav, he be on some creep shit, yo, in reference to an incident where Bryant was allegedly caught sniffing Flav's 14-year-old daughter's shoes. When asked to comment on the situation, the PR team for Flavor Flav would politely reject our request for further information. After ending his friendship with Flav, Bryant would be in a depressive state that would keep him locked in the house for 3 months straight, and the situation would get so bad that Bryant wouldn't leave his room for anything, period. When Bryant was hungry, he would repeatedly ring a bell until his mother would bring him a tray filled with Tyson buffalo chicken tenders, and if this wasn't done fast enough, he would be screaming and throwing a fit. But that's not even the worst of Bryant's behavior at this time. Due to Bryant not leaving the room for anything, period, it would become very hard for him to bathe. So he just wouldn't. The same can't be said about his bathroom situation though, sadly. To deal with the inevitable, Bryant would develop a system where he'd poop and pee in a Lowe's bucket, and then he would later lower the bucket out the window on a pulley, where his dad would later have to dispose of the waste for him. After months of Bryant being a NEET, eventually his parents would sit him down and give him an ultimatum. Either get a job or get kicked out of the house. Obviously, Bryant would not be a fan of the latter option, so he would actually attempt to find a job. The issue is, finding a job when you have a YouTube channel by the name of EatThatPussy445 is pretty difficult. So after 2 months of searching for a job, Bryant would finally pass a social media background check, and he would become a security guard at his local park for events and concerts. Like all careers, Bryant's job working security would have its highs and lows. But the pinnacle of his career as a security guard would definitely be when he met popular rapper Tyler, the Creator. The most interesting part about Bryant's interaction with Tyler, the Creator, was the fact that EDP had no idea who Tyler was, and instead Tyler was actually a fan of Bryant and his YouTube channel. Tyler was such a big fan of Bryant, he'd signed a contract deal with him for EDP to make content for his up-and-coming app startup, Golf Media. This partnership would not last for long though, however, and eventually after making a few videos for Golf Media, EDP would be phased out of their early content. 2015 seemed as if it was going to be the best year of Bryant's life, and from a career standpoint, it was. 2015 would be the year where the vast majority of the iconic EDP videos would be created and uploaded to YouTube, including the Chipotle bathroom video and the Shady McCoy trade video. Along with success on YouTube, the majority of Bryant's televised appearances would also happen around this time. So, despite his recent rise in popularity amongst 12-year-olds on TikTok, this would be the most iconic era of EDP. With all this luck and positivity playing into Bryant's favor, it would seem for someone on the outside looking in as if he had the world in the palm of his hand. But one tragic day at the beginning of the year would forever change Bryant for the worst. On January 31st, 2015, LaTonya Moreland would pass away after battling health complications at Bakersfield Hospital. The loss of Bryant's mother would take a massive toll on his physical and mental health. Without the guidance from his mother, who also doubled as his caretaker, Bryant would be lost in his path of life. Even in his adult years, LaTonya would be the one calling the shots and taking care of Bryant. LaTonya was responsible for making sure Bryant bathed daily, making him his Tyson Buffalo chicken tenders, making sure he went to bed promptly at 8:30 each night, and most importantly, she monitored what Bryant was doing on the internet, making sure he didn't talk to anyone who was a danger to him. LaTonya was very paranoid before her passing that Bryant would be catfished by someone pretending to be a teenage girl, due to her being afraid that they'd lure him to a location and he would be kidnapped. But little did LaTonya know, kidnappers wouldn't even be Bryant's biggest threat on the internet. After a year's worth of depressive eating, Bryant's weight would balloon well over 500 pounds from his usual slim and lean 450. Bryant was disgusted with the man he saw in the mirror and wanted to change. So at the beginning of 2016, he would embark on a weight loss journey that he would broadcast to his thousands of subscribers. Lean 470 pounds, Bryant would finally begin to strive for a better life, and it seemed as if his massive weight loss was the catalyst for this. Following his losing of 30 pounds, Bryant unknowingly started to better himself left and right, with his first act of self-improvement being getting banned from Twitter. Another act of self-improvement Bryant would undergo would be finally learning how to drive at the age of 25. For years, Bryant would be reliant on his mother to bring him to his favorite places such as Leo's Burgers, Chipotle, and of course, the Exotic Kitty Strip Club. So once LaTonya passed, Bryant wasn't able to leave the house because his father, Lamar, had a smart car that physically couldn't fit Bryant inside of it. So without having his mother around, there would be no other way for Bryant to travel anywhere besides walking, which obviously he was never a very big fan of. Due to his strained relationship with his father, Bryant would be taught how to drive by his high school friend and longtime supporter, Felipe. Felipe was such a good friend of Bryant that he would even let Bryant use his car after hitting a light post with it in a Dairy Queen parking lot. But eventually, after a few hiccups while learning how to drive, Bryant would pass his 4th driver's test, finally making him an independent adult. After passing his driver's test to celebrate, Bryant and Felipe would head to their local Chipotle to get burritos. Little did Bryant or Felipe know how monumental this occasion would be for Bryant's channel. Bryant's video, "I flooded the toilet in Chipotle," would become a monumental success that would garner Bryant millions of views while making thousands of memes in the process. This video, in my humble opinion, is the most influential piece of EDP media that's ever been created. Even compared to his other juggernaut videos such as "Is Jacking Off a Sport" and the Chip Kelly video, this was the most shared piece of media EDP ever made, and it probably will never be rivaled. With that being said, there's one more video we need to address in 2016, and that would be his "I Just Beat My Dick Numb" video.
Good evening, Twitter. This is your boy, Eat That Pussy 445, and about like 30 to 45 minutes ago, I beat the fuck out of my dick so goddamn hard that I can't even feel my left leg. My left leg has went totally numb. And my dick has also went totally numb to the point to where it feels fucking weird when I go and take a piss.
Now, this video may seem harmless enough, however, it just goes to show you how not in control Bryant is of his impulses.
So, I'm not a pedophile. I'm a zoophile. But I don't want to fuck a dog, I want to get fucked by a dog. I know at the end is the core reason why I hate myself and I've tried killing myself 3 times.
– 2017 would be the start of a great year for Bryant. In February... So anyways, this section was initially going to talk about Bryant's relationship with his goddaughter, however, I was advised by my lawyer not to talk about the relationship with the child. Furthermore, this relationship was a little bit unsettling, and you could easily research it yourself. However, on my end, I'd rather just not put the child into the situation at all, and leave the mother and child out of it. Anyways, let's just cut to the timeline in the 2017-2018 NFL season. Week 1 of the NFL season always gives NFL fans an optimistic hope that their team will be able to rise above the rest of the competition and win the coveted Lombardi Trophy. Except if you're a Jets fan. Although each team's fans and players hope they're going to win the Super Bowl, the harsh reality is, for 31 fan bases, that dream will not be a reality. One of the hardest things to do as an NFL fan is to stick by your team through the hard times and the heartbreaks. And obviously, that's exactly what our favorite Eagles superfan, Eat That Pussy 445 did ever since he started rooting for the Eagles in the late 90s. Time and time again, Bryant's Eagles would be heartbroken in the biggest of games in almost the same fashion every time. However, after the 2016 hiring of Doug Peterson and the drafting of their young gunslinging quarterback Carson Wentz, a huge cultural change would happen in Philadelphia, and the second-year head coach and quarterback would lead the Eagles on a historic run. The 2017 Philadelphia Eagles would go on an absolute tear throughout the regular season, winning 8 straight games after their Week 2 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. With each game, win or lose, Bryant would create a video reaction right after, with him either gloating about the win or throwing a tantrum when they lost. But considering the Eagles won a lot, there weren't that many negative videos from Bryant that season. That would be until, of course, when things would begin to ultimately go wrong for the Eagles, and their MVP caliber quarterback would go down with an ACL tear in their Week 14 matchup against the LA Rams. To add salt in the wound for the situation, Bryant would also just so happen to be attending the game in person, so he would be paying to watch his favorite player get injured and then carted off the field. Obviously, after watching Carson Wentz go down in the middle of his MVP caliber season, this would cause Bryant to make an angry response video about the situation, with the video detailing Bryant's lack of faith in the Eagles' ability to win without Carson Wentz. Obviously, the outlook in Philadelphia at the time was pretty grim for the team's chances of winning the Super Bowl. However, a familiar face in Philly would be brought in to make sure the Eagles flew high. Nick Foles was drafted by the Eagles in the 3rd round of the 2012 draft to be an understudy to stand-up human being and borderline Walter Payton Man of the Year Michael Vick. Nick Foles would eventually take over the starting job from the 2011 ASPCA Humane Award finalist, and he would put up an NFL record 27-2 TD to interception ratio while leading the Eagles to the playoffs in the process. Unfortunately for Nick, his early success in the league would not last for long, and he would be constantly battling injuries and mediocre play for the rest of his career after that season. The state of Nick's career during the 2017 NFL offseason made him seriously consider retirement. After getting a call from the Eagles, he decided he'd be content with getting an easy paycheck while being a backup quarterback and not getting hit. Sadly for Nick, when Carson Wentz down, he'd actually have to play the game of football again. The final 3 games of the 2017 regular season were pretty lackluster for the Eagles, to put it nicely. The Eagles would win the first 2 games with Foles under center by much slimmer margins than they were used to in the weeks prior, while getting later shut out in the final regular season game by the Dallas Cowboys. The shutout game versus the Cowboys would lead to another magnificent meltdown by Bryant, but it would also create an altercation with Bryant's father on camera that EDP would later upload to his channel for the world to witness.
Fuck this shit! I don't give a fuck about a goddamn 11-2 fucking record! It don't mean shit! You won't do a goddamn thing in the fucking playoffs! You wanna give me my gasoline, please, Brian? God damn, let me get my black ass out of here. Take that Vaseline and shove it up your fucking ass! You know what, Brian? I'm not fucking with you. Bakersfield police need to come to this house. It don't make no difference. All I said is, can I have my Vaseline? Oh, suck my dick. Yeah, I'll suck it, Brian. You ought to be ashamed. He said, all I said is, can I have my Vaseline? I can care the fuck less, man. Oh, of course you can care the fuck less. You don't fucking do shit any fucking way. Brian, I'm not fucking with you. Leave me alone. I know better to fuck with you. This is what the fuck you motherfuckers make me do. Make me crack my fucking case and shit.
After the Eagles' shutout loss to the Cowboys, EDP would make it crystal clear that he did not believe in their chances of making the Super Bowl. But despite Bryant's lack of belief in them, Nick Foles would lead the Eagles on a tear through the NFC playoffs, where he'd outscore his opponents 53-17 in 2 playoff games. Now dubbed with the nickname of Big Dick Nick, Foles would lead the Eagles to their first Super Bowl since the 2004 NFL season, and like the 2004 season, they would be facing a familiar foe. Although none of the original Eagles from the Super Bowl 13 years before would be playing in the game, the one person who single-handedly caused Bryant's overeating, his depression, and his lack of motivation to get a job would be. And let's just say Bryant had not forgotten about the score he had to settle with him. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II, the bane of Bryant's existence. If you remember episode 1 of my EDP Comprehensive History documentary, you would be able to recollect that Bryant would make voodoo dolls of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick after the Patriots beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. From that day on, Bryant would religiously fart on the dolls every NFL Sunday despite them. The real question was, though, would Bryant's farts be strong enough to suffocate the New England Patriots and Tom Brady's chances of winning the Super Bowl? Fearing that farting on the doo-doo dolls wouldn't be enough for the Eagles to beat the Patriots, Bryant figured the only way to guarantee a victory would be for him to attend the Super Bowl himself in person, so he could intimidate Tom Brady by giving him a death stare with his own eyes. But sadly, after pricing out the trip, Bryant would figure out it would be very irresponsible for him to go on his own dime, with $1,400 worth of the trip's expenses coming from the cost of his food alone. To Bryant, it seemed as if his dream of going to the Super Bowl was completely out of reach, but with a little help from an unlikely hero, this dream would become a reality. Logan Thirdiachi, also known as SML, is a YouTube personality best known for his internet puppet show series starring a mentally handicapped child. Thirdiachi's content would not only make him famous with children all over the country for his classic videos like Jeffy Loses His Virginity, it would also make him a very rich and charitable person in the process. Due to his generosity, when Logan found out Bryant wanted to go to the Super Bowl but couldn't, he would step in and pay the $10,000 for EDP's trip to Minneapolis. The steep cost to send Bryant to the big game would not matter to Logan. After all, EDP and Logan were planning on working together in upcoming videos, so this was the least Logan thought he could do to help Bryant make quality content. And on February 4th, 2018, EDP would be there in person to watch his Eagles fly high.
Yep. Alright, here we go. 26 seconds left, up by 8. Why is he
Brady's pass caught by Gronkowski. Out of bounds at the 33. That's a knowing.
Here we go. Why is he so fucking... Wait! What the fuck happened? What happened? What happened? What the fuck happened? Woo! Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! What the fuck? Bro!
In a perfect world, this is where my documentary series would end. But we do not live in a perfect world. On March 5th, 2018, Bryant would call out his fellow content creator and Pepsi enjoyer, Wings of Redemption, for his inability to lose weight. You see, Wings, otherwise known as his birth name of Richard, has a large and passionate fan base who he promised to lose weight for, but despite his best effort and copious amounts of rigorous exercise, Richard was just not able to lose weight. After hearing this story, Bryant, who was also a huge fan of Wings, decided to reach out and lend a helping hand to help Wings achieve his weight loss goals. Because after all, Bryant has been there and done that. Bryant's proposition to Wings would not go over well though, and Richard would disrespectfully decline Bryant's proposal and accidentally make a feud with him. After Richard's poor choices of words towards him, Bryant would fire back with some unkind words of his own, while spitting the truth at Richard in the process.
You know what, my nigga Jordy Jordan, Wings of Redemption, bro. Seriously, on some real shit, fuck you, bitch. Like, seriously, fuck you and fuck everything the fuck that you goddamn stand for, dude. I'm sick of motherfucker. You know, like, you're the typical fucking punk ass bitch that wants the entire goddamn world to fucking feel sorry for you and shit. On this motherfucking sob story. Like, I understand why people fuck with you now. I understand why people give you a hard time, troll you, do all this next level motherfucking shit. Bitch, the only motherfucking thing I tried to do, my nigga, was extend my motherfucking hand and shit. You know what I mean? Try to offer you some advice, try to help you the fuck out. Bitch, this ain't no motherfucking... Nigga, like, I ain't coming here, nigga, preaching to the motherfucking choir and shit, you feel me? What? So, okay, what? I dropped what? Close to 160 fucking pounds. Big fucking deal. Whoop-de motherfucking doo-doo. You know what I mean?
Once Bryant would fire some shots back, many YouTubers would take his side in the feud, including some of Richard's old colleagues on the PKA podcast. And as usual, once the mob was against Wings' side, and they were pointing out how much of an ass he was making of himself, he would eventually back down from the fight with Bryant, and he would also ignore EDP's request for a cage match. The Wings of Redemption beef would not be the only quarrel Bryant would get into in 2018, and it would also be far from the nastiest and most personal spat of the year. In September of 2018, Bryant would go after his former friend and Super Bowl ticket provider, Super Mario Logan, for being an awful friend who doesn't give his friends anything and only uses them. Sorry, I was getting a little worked up there for how much of an awful person he was, but anyways, the feud between Bryant and Logan would allegedly begin to boil after Logan was planning on EDP doing some voiceover and physical acting for his SML puppet show, which on paper seemed like a great idea because how good EDP was with children. But unfortunately, the plan would fall through because that's all it was, a plan. Nothing was set in stone. The reason that EDP was so upset was the fact that if they signed a contract, Bryant would be getting paid $5,000 per month in cash to be a part of the SML cast. And let's be real here, but if a friend offers you $5,000 per month to do absolutely nothing, I think they're just an awful and shitty friend, but that's just me. The situation between Bryant and Logan would get Bryant so peeved that he would make a video calling out Logan and exposing how much of an awful person he was to his audience, while also simultaneously airing out their dirty laundry.
Logan 30 Acre. Super Mario Logan. Let me go ahead and expose this motherfucking fraud ass fake fucking friend. Super Mario Logan is the guy who was so nice and so kind enough to fly me and my nigga Felipe to the fucking Super Bowl. He paid for all that fucking shit. I'm so fucking appreciative and I'm so grateful, but at the same time, I refuse to get on my goddamn hands and knees and kiss your fucking ass. Let me tell you guys what the fuck happened. So, going back to the whole contract shit, opened up to him, explained to him my situation and stuff. He was like, you know what? I'll make you a deal. Why don't you... I want to sign you to a 6-month contract in which you will be doing voice acting for my fucking puppets on my fucking channel. You know, he always fed me this cockamamie bullshit about, oh my God, bro, you have the audience, you have the voice, you have the personality, you know, let's team up. I want to sign you to a 6-month contract, $5,000 a month. Promises are meant to be broken. Break your fucking promise and tell me what the fuck is up!
Bryant's smear campaign of Logan would strike a nerve with the other cast members of SML, and Logan's right-hand man, Lavelle, would strike back in defense of his boy by leaving a comment on Bryant's video bashing Bryant for shit-talking Logan after he paid for his trip to the Super Bowl. Uncharacteristically of Bryant, when Lavelle left his comments, he decided to be non-combative with him and just let the comment slide, which largely ended the feud as a whole, besides from the occasional passing remarks from both sides. The 2018 NFL season would once again be an eventful one for Bryant and his Eagles, and despite the Eagles being the defending Super Bowl champs, Bryant would be just as upset with the team for losing as he's ever been, which would lead to major nuclear meltdowns after each loss. By and large, the loss that would make Bryant the most irate that season would be the Eagles' 23-21 loss to the Vikings. The loss to the Vikings would lead to Bryant making a video performing vile acts on his Eagles beanie, even going as far as wiping his ass and balls with it. The video would be seen as so grotesque by YouTube that they would add their 18+ age restricted rating to the video, kind of like what they did to EDP Part 1. Although this video may seem extreme and kind of gross, the video itself wouldn't even be the worst part of the whole ordeal. Now, this is all alleged, but it's basically confirmed at this point, so I'm okay with putting it in the documentary. But apparently, Bryant wouldn't be the last person to wear the Eagles beanie that he wiped his ass and balls with in the desert. As the story goes from Reddit user I Love Big Chungus and Ugandan Knuckles, his friend Jeremy and him were out in the desert riding their dirt bikes when they would spot EDP from afar. At first they didn't want to upset Bryant, so they went off a little bit, but then they would later return to the same area hoping to get a picture with him. Unfortunately for them, by the time that they got over there, Felipe would pick Bryant up from the area in the desert, so they weren't able to grab a photo with him. Even though Bryant wasn't there, when they did get to the scene of where he was, they wouldn't come up empty-handed, and they would find Bryant's trusty Eagles beanie on the ground, and Jeremy would proudly wear it as a trophy. Sadly though for Jeremy, he did not have the hindsight that we did to know what Bryant did to the beanie, and he would end up having his head infested with pubic lice because of it. The pubic lice in the hat wouldn't even be the worst of the situation, and OP's friend would end up in the ICU of the hospital after getting a staph infection from the beanie. After his initial post, OP would not give us any further updates on his friend's condition, and to this day we do not know if he survived.
Wow, this channel is really shit. I wouldn't subscribe to Chef Bojack even if he paid me. Anyways, back to watching gay porn on livestream.
2019 as a whole would be a continuation of Bryant's normal everyday behavior, that being vlogging about the Eagles and DMing minors. But in some ways, Bryant would begin to make surprising strides to being a normal everyday person. As we all know, talking to women was never Bryant's forte, so taking it a step forward and getting into a relationship with one was almost completely off the table. Well, at least for a woman who had some self-respect and who was around the same age as him. You see, Bryant always seemed to aim a little too high with his expectations for a female partner, and he would usually always shoot a little bit out of his league. But once he lowered his expectations a little bit, he'd start slaying the ladies, even if it would take a harpoon to do so. Now with lower expectations, Bryant would begin to actually, for the first time in his life, date women. And he would even go as far as losing his virginity. As he always had before, Bryant would make vlogs broadcasting the spicy details of his dating life to the world. With every little thing that would happen with these relationships, Bryant would be like an open book, venting and ranting about his partners publicly on social media for all of his followers to witness. The first of many girlfriends Bryant would publicly date would be Fatima Mangetrop, a local edible arrangements manager who Bryant met on blackpeoplemeet.com. And their first date would be a romantic trip to Disneyland. Bryant and Fatima would do the traditional couple's Disney bucket list things such as kissing in front of Sleeping Beauty's castle and sharing countless amounts of churros. Unfortunately, due to their combined mass, they would not be allowed to ride in the same carts on thrill rides for safety purposes. So on rides such as Big Thunder Mountain, one of them would be seated in the front cart while the other one would be seated in the back to evenly distribute their weight. Although it started off strong, Bryant's relationship with Fatima would come to an end after just 6 months of dating due to 2 major disagreements between the pair. The first major fight Fatima would have with Bryant would be over his recently growing obsession with guns, which Fatima was not a big fan of due to her nephew dying in a drive-by shooting. But this quarrel wouldn't even be the final nail in the coffin of the relationship. After having a scare with her health in April of 2019, Fatima would want both her and Bryant to pursue healthier lifestyles so they didn't die prematurely. To make sure the couple got enough exercise, Fatima would sign the couple up for ballet classes, which Bryant would begrudgingly partake in to appease her. Bryant and Fatima would attend the first 31 classes of the course, but Bryant would oversleep his 5 p.m. alarm on the final day of class, the dance-off competition day, leaving Fatima alone and very angry with him, which would end their relationship for good. After the breakup with Fatima, Bryant would begin to do some soul searching, and he would go for a drive to clear his head. On Bryant's drive, he would drive very slowly through a school zone because he's all about keeping kids safe. And this is where he would meet a middle school teacher, who we will call Helga to obscure her identity for legal reasons, of course. Although Helga would be in her early 40s and Bryant at the time being immature in his late 20s, the two would hit it off and get very romantically involved with each other. Once Bryant and Helga knew each other for long enough, Helga would start bringing Bryant around her family, who weren't very big fans of Bryant from the get-go. Every time Bryant would go around her family, he would be quoted as saying that he felt like scum and no matter what he did, they would never like him, which was only magnified when they found out about the Eat That Pussy 445 YouTube channel. The issues Bryant had with Helga's family would not be an issue if she was a normal 40-year-old woman, but because she lived with her parents, Bryant was almost completely unable to avoid them. After countless incidents of Helga's parents shit-talking him and her not sticking up for him, Bryant would break up with her and upload a video titled "Spineless Was Her Middle Name." Following the split with Helga, Bryant would upload a video on Instagram of him burning photos of them together, signaling to his audience that the relationship was over for good. On February 5th, 2020, Bryant would finally hit 1 million subscribers, and he would make a video celebrating and thanking his fans for reaching the milestone. Although Bryant would be filled with glee for reaching his lifetime goal, the celebration of hitting 1 million subscribers would only last a month, when on March 5th, 2020, Bryant would be alerted through email that he would not be receiving a golden play button from YouTube due to his channel violating terms of their partnership. Bryant would have a back and forth with YouTube over the status of him not receiving his play button, and he would even try to negotiate with them, saying he'd become more family friendly if they gave him the plaque. But YouTube would not budge. Although YouTube wouldn't give him a plaque that he rightfully earned, it wouldn't stop his friend and a community member of his named Andy from making him a custom one that would even be better than the actual thing. And speaking of his community, with the largest community and audience he's ever had backing him, it seemed like Bryant would be pretty much untouchable. But that wouldn't stop countless amounts of YouTubers from calling him out. As Bryant got bigger, and I mean his channel, not his body by the way, a lot of smaller YouTubers would begin to take shots at him, where they'd poke holes in his personality while giving him genuine criticism in the process. These smaller YouTubers would garner a good amount of traction on their videos, and a lot of the time they'd even garner the attention of Bryant, who would make a response video to them where he would encourage his audience to dislike bomb their content in an attempt to silence and squash the criticism. And for the most part, Bryant would ratio these channels who would call him out. This era is about the time where Bryant would begin to form a rogues gallery of villains such as Black Bigelow, who would make videos on Bryant just because he hated him, and longtime EDP445 troll Cold Raven, whose videos would be touching on a more troubling side of Bryant. Around mid-2020, screenshots would surface of Bryant talking sexually to a 14-year-old girl on Instagram. At first, Bryant would plead ignorance to the situation, but once the mob came knocking on his door, Bryant would have to make a video addressing the screenshots, where he'd deflect blame by saying he didn't know the girl's age when he said she had a nice rack. With the video out and with the allegations now more public, many of Bryant's fans would begin to question if, he was a predator. On August 15th, 2020, the highly anticipated hard-hitting piece of journalistic integrity known as EDP445, the documentary, would be released to critical acclaim by the couple thousand people who would see it. The docuseries would be made by hunky teenage heartthrob Chef Bojack and would garner a lot of traction and eventually make its way to Bryant through a super chat on a live stream.
Have you seen the documentary Chef Bojack made on you? Who the fuck is Chef Bojack? Is he on YouTube?
I think he's looking it up. He gets a link.
Whatever, bitch.
Whoa!
As you can tell from the clip, Bryant was not very content with the fact that someone would comb through his life as thoroughly as this person did, putting all of his important moments, both positive and negative, in an easily digestible 23-minute video that would leave the creator's audience begging for more, even a year down the road. Speaking of YouTubers who Bryant wasn't very fond of, Cold Raven would begin to start actively covering the Jared allegations against Bryant, giving the burden of proof that Bryant was a predator, and even going as far as catfishing him himself. With all the evidence that was coming out around this time, it seemed no one would want to believe the monster that Bryant had become. Cold Raven would perfectly point out that it was almost like no matter what Bryant did, he would never be held accountable for his actions by his audience. In an almost poetic way, each video Cold Raven would make pointing out Bryant's Epsteinic behavior would get dislike bombed and comment rated by EDP445 fans. On October 11th, 2020, Bryant would make a video making fun of Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott for breaking his ankle, which ultimately would end his season. Bryant would taunt Cowboys fans in his video, saying that it was karma for Cowboys fans making fun of Wentz's ACL injury back in 2017. This video would garner Bryant intense backlash due to him wishing grave physical harm on another person, and many YouTubers would call Bryant out on his sociopathic behavior. And 3 days later, on October 14th, 2020, Cold Raven would upload a video addressing Bryant called The Slaughterhouse, where he would cross-examine Bryant's behavior, calling him out for his growing ego, talking to minors sexually in DMs, and of course he would call him out for his recent comments on Dak Prescott's injury. Unlike the other videos Cold Raven would make on Bryant, this one seemed to sway Bryant's audience, and it would receive majority positive ratings, despite how much Bryant's audience would outnumber him. The Cold Raven Slaughterhouse video was by far the biggest dump ever taken on EDP, and Bryant would be forced in a corner where he'd have to respond in a video titled A Little Bitch Named Cold Raven, where he accuses Cold Raven of trying to tear him down to make a name for himself. The feud between Bryant and Cold Raven would continue for the following weeks, with both sides going back and forth, with ultimately the same points being put across by both sides. In January of 2021, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security would get a tip about an individual who is allegedly threatening to drop a bomb in every Chipotle bathroom in the greater Los Angeles area. As we all know, the U.S. government takes threats of acts of terrorism very seriously, and they will stop at nothing to prevent the individual from causing any harm to the public. In the eyes of the Department of Homeland Security, this individual was a highly dangerous terrorist, who was likely heavily armed and a danger to women and children. The only real question, though, they'd have left would be, who was this man?
Alright, man, so I got some crazy ass fucking news for you guys, man. I got a fucking notice in the mail yesterday saying that I've been placed upon a fucking no-fly list. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, what the fuck did I do? Like, nigga, I ain't do shit. I gotta fucking contact a lawyer, more specifically probably on fucking, Monday or Tuesday. I know tomorrow is fucking President's Day, you know what I mean? Get a hold of him or whoever the fuck, right? I know there's like a few lawyers, a few lawyer offices down the fucking street, and try to get this motherfucking shit squared away, because this is bullshit, you know what I mean?
After getting barred from flying for what he thought was seemingly no reason, Bryant would file an appeal with the DHS and Air Traffic Control Committee, so if he needed to go cross-country to flee or vacation, he could. Sad to say for Bryant, though, he would not get a response back about appealing his no-fly list status. Due to being a stand-up citizen, Bryant did not understand why he would be put on a no-fly list, and he felt like it was a form of discrimination based off of his size. Bryant would accuse the airlines of barring him from flying due to the extra strain his mass put on the load of the plane, and he'd even attempt to sue 5 of the leading airlines in the United States for size discrimination. However, Bryant's motion to sue would be denied by a judge, who laughed in Bryant's face and told him to consider dieting over legal action.
Tonight, the strangest parade of suspects you've ever seen.
NBC again.
On To Catch a Predator. We've been investigating the national epidemic of grown men using the internet to solicit underage teens for sex. As more and more parents become aware of the dangers, so have lawmakers in Washington. Good evening, I'm Stone Phillips.
And I'm Ann Curry. Both houses of Congress have now passed a bill to create the first nationwide registry for sex offenders, which in many states includes online sex predators.
We thought we'd seen and heard just about everything, but what we found there surprised even our own Chris Hansen. A reminder, some of what you'll see is explicit.
We've always been aware that the men coming into our undercover houses could be dangerous. But as we set up our To Catch a Predator operation in California, the very first man who arrives has us especially worried.
Whoa, hold on. Here he comes. He's coming.
29-year-old Bryant Moreland, EDP445. An unemployed computer technician uses the frightening screen name, Can I Rape You Anally? He thinks he's coming to meet a girl who said she was 13. What
EDP445
apparently doesn't know is he's really been chatting with an adult decoy from
Predator Poachers with the help of CC Unit.
That's an online watchdog group Dateline uses as a consultant to do what it normally does. Set up computer profiles and, in this case, pretend to be children under the age of 14 who are interested in sex. In his online chat, tells the decoy maybe we should hook up, and says he would like to have anal sex with her. The decoy says, ouch, I think that would hurt a lot.
Bryant Moreland
responds, yeah, but it's a good pain, you know.
On 4/20/2021, the online sting group known as the Predator Poachers would do a live stream to hype up their upcoming sting operation on EDP and to publicly display his chat logs to the world. Unlike the channel's normal videos where they'd be hosted by Seth Rogen, this live stream would be led by one of their 13-year-old boy decoys named Alexandra, even though he wasn't involved in the sting. Alexandra would take the time to scrupulously plug his Twitch and his Zoophile RAN Discord while occasionally reading Bryant's disturbing chat logs on the side. And because of this, me and my good pal Hartsy Protsy took it amongst ourselves to read some of the more disturbing parts of the chat that didn't get as much attention.
Can I actually pronounce his misspellings? That would be really funny.
What you doing?
I have this sex toy. It's called a flashlight, and I'm fucking it. I have this sex toy. It's called a flashlight, and I'm fucking it. I couldn't help myself.
Oh, how does it look?
So pretty much, I stick my cock/dick inside of here, and it's supposed to feel like a vagina. I doubt it, but it feels amazing. You lube it up, and you stroke.
Oh man, I'm going to enjoy this very much. You make me feel some type of way.
Same here. You drive me crazy. Beyond control. I want you to have mind control over me. Totally abuse me and treat me like the naughty boy I've been.
The Predator Poachers would use the hype from constantly spamming screenshots of the video to milk as many subscribers as possible, so they can drop their magnum opus to the largest feasible audience. And one whole day after the live stream, Seth Rogen would finally cave and let the world see the video.
So I'm going to say, any weapons on you? No. I'm going to say we were Sophie the whole time. Okay. So if you want this to go well, I recommend you have a talk with us. Okay? What's up, man? What's up? Your fist? Okay. Well, fist bump?
I don't fist bump people like you, man.
Okay. So before we get into any of the messages right here, I have 84 messages. Okay. So we have you talking to Sophie, correct? Yes or no? Right. Okay. Sophie is how old? Before, and again, I have it right here. I know the answer, but I just need you to tell me the answer. How old is she? 13. 13, okay. And before we get into the messages, there was sexual content involved, yes or no? Right. And you said correct. Okay, all right.
Let this be known, I am not a...
This is absolutely not. How many times have you done this?
This is actually...
You just said it wasn't your first time, and now you say it is. Second time?
What was the first?
So the first time was... So you guys know about the 15-year-old, right?
Yeah. So what about the 13-year-old turns you on though? Like,
don't know, man.
Do you think, does at least some of it have to do with being younger? Yes or no? Okay. So what makes it okay to you for you to come here?
It doesn't make it. I'm just being honest with you. It doesn't make it okay. I was in the wrong.
Right, but what?
Do you know how many charges you get here today? 3. More than that.
More than that?
Yeah, you have more charges on your rap sheet.
You lured a minor, 2 counts of graphic photos. You asked for graphic photos from this girl, and you came here to engage in sexual activity with a 13-year-old.
Right.
You're looking at a whole lot of charges. All of them are felonies, by the way. They're not misdemeanors. They're not infractions. They're felonies.
You said right here. So you were also a little bit sadistic. So You were a little bit submissive to her, yes or no?
I was.
Do you like being, do you have a fantasy? So, you did maybe fantasize about 13-year-olds, yes or no?
Right.
Okay. Do you also fantasize about being submissive to 13-year-olds a little bit? Okay, so what about a 13-year-old, in essence, dominating you turns you on?
Right.
What about you being dominated by a 7th grader turns you on?
I don't know, man.
Come to your house, climb through your window as if that would fit. And
Wait. He was gonna climb through her window in the middle of the night?
Dude, come on, man. I wasn't.
This is what you said.
I know. I say a lot. As far as I was not gonna talk to you.
You were gonna go through this girl's window at the middle of the night. Do you know how creepy that is?
It's creepy as fuck.
That's super creepy.
Listen to this one, Ghosty. Handcuff you, throw you in the back of my car, and bring you back to my dungeon. Explain that.
Dude, that's kidnapping.
Dude, come on.
Man, what do you call it? That's not funny. You were gonna throw this girl in your dungeon, handcuff her?
Okay.
That's kidnapping.
Now, I want to call a place to go get help.
You're not gonna get help. You had plenty of chances to get help.
Every
single time you got exposed for it.
You guys are gonna witness that though.
Look, you've been exposed for this 6 different times. Here you are not learning your lesson. This is not okay. This is not okay. Honestly, we're doing you a big favor.
No, you guys, please.
Hi, is this Bakersfield, Kern County?
Are you really doing this? You're here to meet a 13-year-old.
Who is soliciting There's somebody here.
Are you really doing this?
Yes. Okay, it's
Are you serious? Come on, man. We're trying to get you help, dude. Because you're not gonna get help.
Hey, CC. Hey, CC unit.
Yes.
Hey, bro.
At this point, I think it's pretty fair to say that Brian's life was now over, although he would not be facing any legal action for what he did. Before the drop of the Sting video, Brian would take precautions to not incriminate himself any further, which included preemptively deleting over 2,500 videos off his channel when he was advised to do so by a lawyer. Later on in the week, even though all the content on the channel was either private or deleted, Team YouTube would terminate the EDP445 YouTube channel after countless users would complain about a predator being on the platform. The same can also be said about what happened to Bryant's Instagram. To keep some semblance of relevance, Bryant would try uploading videos to Facebook and a small internet startup platform called 3Speak. But of course, Bryant would not receive the same numbers he was getting on YouTube, and each video would face intense backlash. Now with his life in shambles after the Chet Goldstein sting, Bryant's local community would become aware of his actions after the local news would pick up the story. To make matters even worse for Brian, a local YouTuber known as King LV Raider would put up signs warning parents in Bakersfield that Bryant was a danger to women and children. Bryant would publicly address LV Raider in a video claiming that he was going to file a motion for a restraining order against him for harassment, but that would not stop countless other trolls with Bryant's address from messing with him. Bryant started to realize that his life would never be the same after the sting. And although he wouldn't be prosecuted for his crimes, if Bryant stayed in Bakersfield, it was clear that he could never live a normal life. Bryant's newly found infamy and local attention would cause him to sever contact with his best friends. Well, that was at least according to Felipe, that is. And Bryant would have to flee to a new frontier. The only issue for Bryant would be, where would he run to? Now being an internet fugitive, Bryant would try to conceal his whereabouts to anyone outside his inner circle, but due to how recognizable he is, that was almost impossible. Even though his last Instagram account would get terminated due to him getting caught in a sting operation, that wouldn't stop Bryant from making another one by the name of the OG EDP445, where he'd proudly proclaim that he was heading off to Amarillo, Texas to start a new life. And while this might have been true for all of a week, we now know from public records that the majority of Bryant's time was spent just over the California border in Nevada motels. For months, Bryant would keep his locations quite concealed, but Bryant would not be able to help himself when it comes to keeping the public eye off of him. Despite it being against his best interest, in August of 2021, Bryant would go on a live stream with the owner of the EDP445 store Instagram account, where he'd give updates on his current situation while waiting for the food he ordered from an Oklahoma truck stop McDonald's. After the McDonald's incident, another trace of Bryant could be found from images circulating of him driving for Lyft, which shows that more than likely Bryant was doing Lyft because he was not able to get a normal job due to how tainted his name had become. Now, even though keeping a job was hard enough for Bryant, it would be more challenging for Bryant to keep a place that he was renting without trolls finding out where he was residing and complaining to the owners about the risk he posed to tenants with small children, causing Bryant to be evicted from over 5 properties in the span of a month and a half. During the chaos of Bryant's fall from grace, many YouTubers, including some of Bryant's former foes, would begin to report on any piece of information, false or true, that they heard about Bryant. And to be quite honest, it's hard to separate the bullshit from reality. A lot of the claims that these channels have been making have been proven to be true due to publicly obtainable documents, such as Bryant filing a plea to the court to allow him to change his legal name. However, some claims by YouTubers such as Moist Critical, where they clickbait Bryant being arrested, are blatantly untrue and should be treated as such, because here on Chef Bojack, I vow to only air factual information on Bryant, and I will not tolerate garbage that is not true being aired on my channel. Anyways, as of 2022, this is the current state of Bryant's pathetic life. Bryant has no financial stability, he has relapsed once again into his masturbation addiction, and more than likely he's attempting to commit suicide from the copious amount of food he's consuming.
Listen, man, I'm gonna be real with you, okay?
Okay, I want you to be real with me because this ain't cool.
My mom did not raise a okay? She did not raise a freak or a
When you were here before, couldn't look you in the eyes. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world. I wish I was special. You're so fucking special. But I'm a creep.